Hare Krishna. My Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Today is a most auspicious day. We're celebrating the Avirbhava of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaja. And simultaneously, we're celebrating the Tirobhava of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja. So again, I'm restricted to speak very loudly in the situation that I'm in, but I'll do my best and I hope you'll all be able to hear me. Guruve Gaudachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. I'm first of all offering my prostrated Dandavat pranams to my beloved Gurudev. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatatmane Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja. And today, on this most auspicious day, I'm also offering my Dandavat pranams to our dearmost Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Sri Keshava Priyatmane Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaja. So these two personalities actually took their birth in the same year, 1921. Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj, in his childhood, he was called Santosh. And Santosh was brought to the mutt by his dear mother when he was about 9 years old and placed in the hands of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, in turn, placed him under the care of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. So Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was looking after Santosh. And after a very short time, it was evident that the service attitude of Santosh was exemplary. He would serve the devotees very carefully, putting their leaf plates down when they were taking prasadam, giving them lemon and salt and so on, and just generally being very much in a mood of service to the devotees. And this service mood, of course, we see just grew and grew in his whole life. So there came a time after the departure of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in 1936, when the devotees' discord took place, and there was much fractional fighting amongst the devotees at that time. And at that time, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, along with about 20 other devotees, was placed in the jail on the accusations of the opposing party. So during that time, Santosh, whose name now was Sajjan Sevak Brahmachari. He had been given this name, Sajjan Sevak Brahmachari, by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he was the only one who was not jailed at that time when all the devotees were placed in the jail. So he would have to cook and carry the bhoga to the jail to feed the devotees there. So at that time it was necessary, of course, to make an offering, to offer the bhoga. So at that time, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he gave the Diksha mantras through the bars of the jail, through Srila Sajjan Sevak Brahmachari. So that's when he received his Diksha mantras through the bars of the jail. And then he would be able to bring the offered prasadam for the devotees to take. And eventually, of course, the devotees were released, and Srila Sajjan Sevak Maharaj performed so many services for Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. He would travel with him extensively, and he would take notes while Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was giving his lectures, and from these notes he would compose the lectures of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and then they would be published. So this was his constant service, was publishing the words of his beloved Gurudev. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And for many years, his tremendous service to the support of the Math. At that time, of course, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj had inaugurated the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti and established the Devananda Gaudiya Math. And he was residing there, performing his preaching work. That was his base, his center. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj was carefully serving him in all respects at that time. And then later on, in 1954, after the establishment of the Devananda Gaudiya Math, etc., in 1954, then Srila Vamana Maharaj and Srila Trivikram Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, they were all bestowed the sannyas order on Gaurapanim Day of that year, 1954. So I'm just going very briefly through here the different events in his life, Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj. So in 1954, these three personalities were all given sannyas, and they were collectively the main pillars of the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. And then in 1968, I believe, 67, 68, then Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj left this world. And these three personalities, they took over the management and continuation of the line of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and the line of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj and all the various services that were connected with that. And it was decided that Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj, he would be the initiating guru of all the enthusiastic devotees wanting to join the mission. So he was established as the principal guru. And then Srila Bhakti Trivikram Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Srila Trivikram Maharaj, he was the manager, so to speak. He would help coordinate so many activities in the Math. And then Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, he was mostly focused on preaching and carrying on the Navadvip Parikrama and the Vrindavan Dham Kartik Parikrama. So he was engaged in these services. So in 1954, these three personalities were established. And then after the departure of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, then Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj was mostly based in Navadvip Dham, in the Devananda Gaudiya Math. And from there he would hold the strength of all the preaching activities that were being carried on. In principle, the Mathura temple had been purchased, and in 1959, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj was requested to take up service in that temple in 1959 to facilitate his activities in Braj particularly. So all these interrelationships between these devotees we are appreciating today, and their cooperative efforts to support the mission of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in a very congenial way. There was no friction between any of these personalities, Srila Trivikram Maharaj, Srila Vamana Maharaj, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj. They were completely focused on facilitating the devotees' activities and progress in their bhakti. So we see so many activities of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj. Then in his later years, he retired somewhat from the active world of preaching, and this was left over to Srila Trivikram Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj. Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj, he would say, because there was often so many difficulties between the other mats at that time, and always there were sort of political problems going on. But he would say, see no evil, speak no evil, and hear no evil. And he would act his life out like that. He would never criticize. Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj would never condemn the devotees. He was only ever thinking of their spiritual welfare and progress. He was never in a mood to criticize the devotees, and this is such an example for the devotees today to take inspiration from. His absolute nishta to following carefully the injunction of Trinadapi Sunichena. All his activities and his moods were so much in a humble state of mind, and he was exemplary in this regard. I can remember personally our dearmost Uma Didi, who we'll remember, was recounting to us how Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj would never ever request anyone to tell him what they thought about his classes or his presentations, his pravachan. He never went in that direction of seeking any sort of acclaim for himself, ever, his whole life. So this is greatly inspirational for the devotees to appreciate today in particular, on this most auspicious day. So many millions and millions of exemplary qualities are residing in the life and activities of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj. We can only just hint at them and hear their the details to inspire us ourselves in our own devotional practices today. So today we are seeking the blessings, so much so, of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaja. And also, of course, on this most auspicious day, the Tirobhava festival, the departure day of my beloved Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja. Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaj, he left this world on the 15th of November in 2004. He departed from this world on the 15th of November. And a few years later, Srila Trivikram Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Srila Trivikram Maharaj, he departed on the same day, on the 15th of November. So I remember that we were all very concerned in 2009, 2010 rather, in the Kartik Parikrama time. We were thinking that perhaps our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj, would also choose to leave on this auspicious day of the 15th of November, as his two godbrothers departed on that same date. But Srila Narayana Maharaj, he tricked us all, and he didn't leave on that day, so we were very relieved, thinking, oh, he definitely won't leave now for at least another year. But actually he tricked us, and in December of that same year, he chose to depart, but on the Avirbhava, on the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj, demonstrating his eternal connection with that personality, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaja. So it's not at all coincidental, of course. The devotees realize the nature of these Mahajans. They choose when to leave this world. They appear in this world by the order of their divine Swamini, and they leave this world at their own choosing. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj chose to leave in late December of the year 2010 from Puri Dham. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj had spent most of his devotional active life out of the area of Mathura. As I said earlier, in 1959, he took over the temple there in Mathura, and he remained in charge of that temple until 2010, till he left this world in 2010. So we see in the life of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj how he inspired particularly the Western devotees. Of course, he did so much preaching in India generally to all the Mathuravasis in particular. He spent so many years cultivating the various families and relationships in Mathura and also Vrindavan. He has a huge, still today, immense following of dedicated devotees in Mathura. But in particular, in the early 90s, he began to preach to the ISKCON leaders and to begin to bring the awareness more clearly of Raganuga Bhakti into the line of ISKCON, particularly through the ISKCON leaders. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada had not neglected to teach these teachings of Rupanuga, Raganuga Bhakti to his followers, but he had not put that on the front burner, so to speak, of his teaching. He knew that he was teaching, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada was teaching to very fallen Western devotees with no sanskar particularly, no idea of what is spiritual culture, not even knowing who was Krishna initially. So he wasn't putting the high topics of Raganuga and Rupanuga prominently, even though these teachings are so much in all his purports and commentaries, but they are not brought out prominently. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja, he began to very prominently teach these principles of Raganuga, Ragatmika, Rupanuga Bhakti to the Western disciples, Western devotees. I personally can remember in 1997 in Mawulamba, Australia, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj began to explain to us all the verse Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurana Vajtino Kalo Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Svabhakti Shriyam. He explained clearly the precepts of Mahaprabhu. Personally, I had been practicing in ISKCON for 17 years. I had never heard these truths before about the identity and reality of Mahaprabhu. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, he prominently began to place those teachings, these Raganuga teachings, Rupanuga teachings, into the hearts of the Western devotees from that time. And he continued for the rest of his preaching period up until 2010, giving us these impressions that would, these sanskars, that would give us the ability to actually wake up the reality of practicing this Raganuga path. This was his prominence, this was his teachings to his shishyas and disciples. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, he gave all the conclusive truths, all the siddhantas, very, very significantly. He gave us Krishna Tattva. Who is Krishna? Is he Mathurish Krishna? Is he Parthasarthi Krishna? Is he Dwarkadish Krishna? Or is he Vrajendranandan Shyam Sundar? The distinction between Krishna's personalities and the original Swayam Krishna in Vrindavan. And he prominently explained to us the nature of Vrajendranandan Shyam Sundar and the prominence of Vrindavan Dham, over Dwarka Dham, for example. In Dwarka Dham, all are considering that Krishna is the Supreme Personality, the Supreme Lord, or Paramatma. This is what the mentality of all those residents in Dwarka were considering Krishna's identity to be. Whereas in Braj, his mood of being a servant to the Brijbasis, being a servant to their prem for him. Krishna, as Brajendranandan Shamsundar, is controlled by the prem of the Brijbasis. He's subservient to Mother Yashoda. He becomes bound by her prem to the grinding mortar. He becomes bound by the love of the gopis. The gopis have the ability, this samartarati, to control Krishna by their prem. So this nature of Krishna changes radically from Dwarka, from the Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, etc. So all of this Krishna tattva had to be completely impressed in the hearts of his Shishyas, of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaja's followers. He also gave us, of course, Radha tattva. What is Shakti tattva? In the wonderful compilation of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jaivadhamma, we see that in the 14th chapter in particular, he's described the nature of Shakti tattva, how initially the Sangvit Shakti is manifesting, absorbing the knowledge that is required to understand the path of Raganuga, and then from that Sangvit Shakti, when it enters the heart and mixes with the Hladini Shakti, the mercy of Sri Radhika directly, then an understanding of Vrindavan Dham, Brajaras, will actually manifest in the devotees. So this Shakti Tattva is beautifully described in the 14th chapter of Jaivadhamma, and my Gurudev gave this strongly. Over a period of 20 years, he preached all these truths very systematically to us, and we are so grateful today, on this day in particular of the Avirbhava and Tirobhava, these divine personalities. We are overwhelmed in a mood of gratitude that the gifts that they have bestowed upon us, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, he gave us the gift of Krishna Tattva, the gift of Shakti Tattva, Radha Tattva, the gift of Gora Tattva, who is Sachinandana Gora Hari, Radha Krishna, Shiradaya Pranaya Mahima, Kidrisho Vanaiva, Swadyena Buddha Madhurima Kidrisho Madhya. These three desires that Mahaprabhu carried in his heart that he wanted to fulfill. Mahaprabhu is none other than Radha Krishna directly. Shri Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritya Hladini Shakti Asmat Ekatmanav Apibhuvi Deha Bedam Toto. That Radha and Krishna are one personality, and they have manifested in two forms, Radha and Krishna, but essentially they are one personality. We see in the conversation of Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, he has darshan directly of this Mahabhav Swarupini, this Radha and Krishna combined in the form of Sachinandan Gaurahari. So this is Gora Tattva. Who is Mahaprabhu? He's Krishna directly, but he's carrying the intense desire to taste the moods of Sri Radhika, Sri Radha Pranaya, Sri Radhaya Mahima Kidrishodanaiva. These three desires of Krishna to understand the glories of Srimati Radhika's love, to understand the Madhurima, Adbhuta Madhurima, the sweet qualities in Krishna that only Radhika can perceive, and to understand the happiness that Sri Radhika experiences by receiving the sweetness of Krishna's love. So these three desires Mahaprabhu has come to fulfill, but he is essentially Krishna. So this is Gora Tattva in a nutshell. So Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja gave us this Gora Tattva. He gave us Prem Tattva. He described to us the nature of Prem according to the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and the teachings of Ujjvala Nilamani. Also, he's giving us these teachings. He gave us Bhakti Tattva. He gives us Jiva Tattva, explaining conclusively how the Jiva has manifested in this world from the Tatashta. He has not fallen from Vaikuntha, as is suggested or preached by other societies. Only ISKCON are preaching that erroneous apasidantic idea. So my Gurudev, he established conclusively Jiva Tattva. He established Braja Tattva. What is the nature of Braja Prem? This is the gift of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu has only come to give this Braja Prem. So by the mercy of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, he gave these essential grounding truths to his followers. This was his gift, and we are feeling so grateful. He gave us Rasa Tattva. He gave us Sambandha Tattva, Abhideya Tattva, Prayojan Tattva, Nityananda Tattva, Gadadha Tattva, Guru Tattva, Sadhana Tattva, Nam Tattva. What tattvas didn't he give? In his life, in his discourses, in his teachings, all of these tattvas he gave systematically through his various programs that he would give. He would work through all these different tattvas. Without this knowledge, without this Sangvit Shakti being received by the Shishyas, then this mixing with the Hladini Shakti in the heart to realize these truths of Raga Anuga Bhakti cannot manifest in the conditioned soul's heart. These siddhantas have to be there, have to be clear. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, he gave us these truths. He gave us the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. He gave us the 11th canto, the 12th canto. I can remember in Bhaja one year, he went right the way through the 11th canto. So all of these cantos he went through systematically over a period of time. He didn't leave any stone untouched. So we are so grateful for all of these gifts that he is described as being like the walking, talking Chaitanya Charitamrita. He gave us from the very beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita to the conclusion of Shikshastakam in the 20th Antya-lila chapter of Shikshastakam. He gave us all of this, all of these truths in such a bundle in 20 years. He impressed into the hearts of his followers to give us the adhikar, to give us the confidence, to give us the faith. This is what the Mahajans, what the Mahabhagavats do with their Shishyas. They inspire and instill unconquerable faith, this paramartik shraddha within the heart of their followers. Without this paramartik shraddha, without this absolute faith, none of these truths will be understood as a reality. Sometimes today I'm speaking to people who didn't have association of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada or Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, and I'm aware of a vacancy there, that because they haven't had that impression from a Mahabhagavat into the heart of this paramartik reality, these essential truths, it's very difficult to actually have the complete, whole, Sharanagat faith in these topics. So today in particular, we're so grateful for both these personalities, Srila Vamana Gosvami Maharaja and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja, for their ability to instill these essential truths within the hearts of their followers and for posterity, because the way they've explained them, the lectures and so on they've left behind, their teachings that were left behind for us to reiterate on days like today, that the devotees will again become more inspired. If we're inspired already, then our desire is to become more inspired. It's this inspiration, this greed, which is the current of the gift of Mahaprabhu. This Braja Prem, Braja Ras is only inspired by greed. This Bhav Bhakti is inspired by greed. We understand the three principal stages of the practice of sadhana bhakti. There's sadhana bhakti, Bhav Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. If our sadhana bhakti is not being focused on Bhav Bhakti, then it's described that our sadhana bhakti is like zero. We have to know what is Bhav Bhakti. So it's essential for us to appreciate and understand the necessity to absorb these divine truths. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, he has really taken great trouble and pains in his preaching service in this world to instill, particularly in the Western devotees. Just like Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was giving great gifts to the Western devotees, Srila Bhaktivedanta, Srila Narayana Maharaj also gave essential gifts to the Western devotees in this regard. But of course, to the whole world is benefiting from these truths. It's completely harmonious. It's not exclusively the Western devotees, but the Western devotees are having a door opened specifically for them to walk into an appreciation of the immensity of the jewel-like gifts that Sachinandan Gaurahari has bestowed to the conditioned jivas of this world. Never before in the history of these 4 yugas have such immense truths being bestowed upon the jivas with no charge, so to speak. It's described that Krishna would inspire these truths, but he would also ask for the container so that he could fill your pot with these truths. But it's described that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if you haven't got the adhikar or the sanskar or the container to hold these truths, he will give you the container also. This is how munificent and merciful is Sachinandan Gaurahari. All these truths he will give to us by practicing carefully the method, the chanting of this holy name. He has inspired the holy name of the Lord in this age to give great potency to the jiva, to climb over these immense obstacles, these hindrances that are being thrown up in Kali Yuga in particular. Kali Yuga is externally the most fallen age, the most brutal age, when men will not respect the cows, they will not even respect each other. They will even kill the child within the wombs of the mothers in this age. Such a sinful age, yet in the darkness of this age, Mahaprabhu has advented, and it's our responsibility as conditioned souls to understand how we can walk out of the darkness of this age. And only by taking the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his line, through the current, it's coming down to us. Avaroha Panta, these truths are descending through Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Narottam, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Srila Bhakti Pradhan Keshav Maharaj, Srila Gorkishoras Babaji Maharaj, all of these coming down to Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja, Bhakti Vedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaja. All these truths are descending, and we just have to hook in to connect with the current of greed. Greed is the method to hook in. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam Yatita Lavita Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukritiyana Labita. This lolyam, this greed is the ingredient, and this is directly what Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami instilled in his followers. an unwavering enthusiasm based on sound, logical siddhanta and truths. Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj has given exactly the same. So today we are so grateful that these luminaries have appeared in this world. So grateful. Without their energy, without their mercy, where would any of us be today? Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja inspired in the heart of Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj to take sannyas from Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. How could his mission have begun without the renounced order in his life being there? How could he have had the authority to have come to the Western worlds without that sannyas, without being in that sannyas ashram and having the entire mercy of the Guru Varga behind him? So Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj connected with Srila Bhaktivedanta, with Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. He's already connected to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, but the vital ingredient is Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who was he was connected to through the inspiration of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaj. So we see this interrelationship between these four personalities: Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. Also today we can include Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaj, who is absolute support, like a rock in the institutional strength of this Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was there at the inauguration day of this Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. He was there from the beginning with his dearmost bosom friend, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. So this relationship is very illuminating and enlightening for us to appreciate today. In this time where different groups and so on are contentious with each other, we must pray for harmony within the Gaudiya line, harmony under the umbrella of the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, of Sanatana Goswami, of all our line. This is our umbrella. This is our identity. This is who we are. So on this remarkable occasion of the Avirbhava of Srila Vamana Maharaj, the Avirbhava of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, we are really remembering this connection and this potency that they are infusing into the hearts of the conditioned souls. So today I'm very much praying for the mercy of these illuminaries to come into my heart and to please soften my heart, to please melt my heart in affection and attraction towards the divine couple's pastimes in Vrindavan, particularly towards Srimati Radhika, and to pray for the desire to fulfill the injunction that Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj has constantly requested us to consider ourselves as a Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika. He said this repeatedly over his 20 years connection with the Western devotees. I want to be a Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika. And what does all of that mean? It means all the appreciations of those tattvas and siddhantas that I've already just mentioned their names, not even gone into the details of them, but to just hold the understanding, the grounding on siddhanta, because this parakiya ras, which is only in Vrindavan and appears to be abominable in this world, has to be deeply, deeply, deeply understood. Who is following the teachings of this parakiya ras? Shukadev Goswami, Vyasadeva, Narad, Lord Brahma. They are all proclaiming the excellence of the gopis of Vrindavan who are following this Parakya Ras. Even the great wives of the Devas, Arundhati, the wife of Vasishtha Rishi, glorifies the gopis' Parakya Bhav. So there's nothing abominable, there is nothing material about this Parakya Bhav. It's essential for us to dive deeply into these teachings and fully appreciate the nature of all of these gifts that Mahaprabhu has come to bestow through his stalwart followers. So today I am begging the mercy of all these personalities that I may continue or begin to be inspired more towards service to the Vaishnavas and service to the Rupanuga Guru Varga and service to the residents of Braj and service particularly to Sri Radhika herself. I'm praying for that mercy from Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaja and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Gosvami Maharaja on the Avirbhava and Tirobhava of these divine personalities. Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vamana Gosvami Maharaja Ki Jai. All glories to the devotees. Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhyavacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavena namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.